What's up, YouTube? So I'm finishing up my day here at Meineke Cinnamonsing, and oh, what fun it is sometimes to deal with the public. So 1 year ago, and I remember this job specifically, a customer came in with this is250. We checked the exhaust. Oh yeah, I'm on it. And then he told we could either make a center pipe assembly or we can replace the center pipe assembly, and that would be the minimum repair to his older is250. 1 year ago. And I actually did a video on this where the customer, I said, caught me slipping. So we did the center pipe on the car because they came in with a completely detached, loud as fuck, vibrating, the whole 9 yards. So we said we can make you a center pipe assembly which goes from the cats to the rear muffler assemblies, but leaving the rear muffler assemblies in the back of the car. So I don't usually road test exhaust systems before and after. And in most cases when you're, with my experience, you don't have to. Only if the customer has pre-existing conditions and other problems would I do that. So, make a long story short, I install the job, I do it myself, I put it outside, I know it's perfect. Customer picks the car up, thank you. So anyway, he came in, got an estimate, took the car, and then we were back and forth over the phone on what he wanted to do. Then he finally agreed to a direct fit center pipe. So then the customer pays, he leaves, he comes back like 20 minutes later, it's like, a lexus shouldn't sound like this. I'm like, what do you mean a lexus shouldn't sound like this? He goes, there's a noise. It's coming from the exhaust. So I was like, well, I assure you it's nothing that what I just did to your car. I said, so let's just go for a ride. Driving down the road, nothing, and then we get a, and he leaves the car and another little, and I was like, okay, well and your left front wheel is where this noise is coming from. Left front kick in the floor pan. I said, the exhaust work is behind your ass and back. So I said, no big deal. Let's pull it back to the shop. I'll put it up in the air, and I'm going over the work that I did to his car. And I'm banging and banging. I go up to the left front converter, I bang on the shield, and I'm like, here's your problem. I said, this problem has always been here. It didn't happen because I just worked on your exhaust system. And he's like, yeah, but a Lexus shouldn't sound like that. I said, but you're telling me that it was something I did originally when it was a pre-existing condition. So I remember the guy specifically in my head. So at that time, we told him the tire light was on, the rear tires were bald, and it needed rear pads. Here we are almost a year later, he's back and asked me why his mufflers in the back are falling off the car. Hey dude, we didn't work on your mufflers, we worked on your center plate. He's like, yeah, right past the bumper, the muffler's falling off on the one side. I said, no big deal. I said, we'll look at it. He goes, yeah, we spent $1,600. I didn't expect it. And I was like, well, you only fixed the midsection of your exhaust system in your older car. I said, no big deal. Let me get it up in here and take a look at it. So on the IS in the back, it has this plate hanger assembly that bolts to the unibody that houses the hangers. Then they go onto the muffler. Well, when I brought the car in, I walked around and you could see that plate rusted right off, and that's why the one side was down. So I pulled the car up in the air and I grabbed the other side, and I could see the rusty brackets getting ready to come apart on the other side. And I'm like, this is a pain in the ass to make hangers for this job. I say, call Lexus and see how much those brackets are. They were $60-something a piece for the brackets one day out. So $120 just for the brackets, not including dealing with all the rusty shit and take the exhaust system off and transfer everything over and put it back up. So at least an hour per side, right? You would figure 2 hours at dealership, $400, $120, you're talking $500 to get your exhaust brackets fixed if that's the only problem at the dealer. The body shield that houses the muffler on the other side, which is aluminum, has been long gone. The passenger side just flapping around, right? So I'm like, I knew these guys would be pissed on YouTube about this. I took that shit and threw it right in the trash. So then now they don't want to go the route with buying dealership brackets and 2 hours labor here. It's be $260 in labor plus $120 in parts plus our markup. So we're still over $300 no matter how you look at the job. Well over that. So Rachel says, hey, it's the dealer parts. It's going to cost you this a day out, or we can make brackets 2 hours labor plus Anthony's time, blah, 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 blah. They agreed to the job. I get the car back in the shop. I put it up in the air. I get started. And she goes, back the car up. They don't want to do the job. It's too expensive. I was like, okay. You couldn't be more convenient. OEM parts or I make something. So 10 minutes later, he calls back again, says, bring the car back in the shop and do the job. Rachel's like, it's $300 plus tax. Yes. I do the job. I get it done. Put the car outside. Customer comes in. I'm on a road test with another car. And Rachel's like, he wants to speak to you. I'm like, what the fuck does he want to speak to me about? He goes, I don't know, the price. I'm like, well, you guys already talked about the price before I did the job. So I come up there, I said, something I can do for you? He goes, yeah, that price is a little steep. Can you give me a little discount? I'm like, no. He's like, well, she's a college student and all this stuff. I'm like, so? So you already knew the price before we started. 2 opportunities before this. Now you want to come to the counter and fucking try and chop me out when you already knew what the parts cost from the dealer and the time to do the job. And people wonder why I'm so fucking nasty sometimes over that. So you know what I did? I gave him a $20 discount. You know what? He frowned at that. I offered him a $20 discount and he was still not happy with that.
I don't give a shit. $20 is $20.
He stood there and I was like, that's not good enough? I was like, all right, well, add the $20 back in. That's exactly what I said, and I walked away. Fuck you, jerk off. Assholes.
No matter where you are, they think I'm going, oh, we're going to make an accommodation after telling you a price. Okay, $20? You give me $20?
No, but there was so much back and forth. You had the opportunity to walk the fuck away and go someplace else, or try and jerk me off again when you get here. And if I was a real dickhead like people think I am, I would have said, fuck you, pay me. You already knew what the price was. And his tires were bald slicks. Car seat in the back, little baby. It wasn't his car, it was his daughter's car.
Yeah, college student.
Right. And you know, it rained all day today. And didn't it rain yesterday? Driving around with bald slick tires. Yeah.
Yesterday was really bad.
I fucking hate people sometimes.
130 was flooded.
But Ford Boss me said the same thing. People come in all the time and do that shit at his shop, and he's like, get the fuck out of here. Keep going.
Exactly.
Assholes.